From a Technicolor lobster to a mutant fish pulled out of Chernobyl waters, here are 10 of the strangest things ever caught. Number 10. The Technicolor lobster. Fisherman Chad Graham, working off the coastal water of Nova Scotia, Canada, reeled in the rarest lobster in the entire world. Graham found a strange Technicolor lobster. According to EarthTouch News, the chances of finding a lobster that looks like this is 1 in 100 million. Apparently, the weird pigmentation of the lobster is an extreme irregularity, and it's known properly as a crystal lobster. Graham told local news that after 7 years as a captain of a boat, he had never seen such a unique and amazing lobster. Most lobsters with a pigment deficiency are completely colorless, but this one had a shiny, multi-hued exoskeleton. Fortunately for the lobster, it was under the legal catch size. This means that the fisherman released the lobster back into the water after snapping a quick photo of it. One of the reasons that the lobster may have looked so strange is that it was feeding on a variety of shrimp and algae that contain the same pigment that makes carrots orange and that makes flamingos pink. Eating this pigment is what turns lobsters red when exposed to heat. But if a lobster doesn't eat enough algae and shrimp, it won't be so colorful, and apparently it can turn into one of these rare crystal lobsters. Number 9. Fish with 2 mouths. Russian fishermen reeled in a horrible monster that appeared to have 2 mouths and an unnaturally hooked tail. The fish was found with a normal mouth on its face and another not-so-normal mouth growing out of the side of its neck. The fishermen had no idea why the fish seemed so mutated, but some have blamed it on the nearby Fukushima power plant as it was caught in the southeast of Russia, close to Japan. And even though the fish didn't display any signs of aggression, it was still pretty scary to look at. Even after posting the video of the bizarre fish online, nobody was able to determine exactly what breed it may have been. And nobody knows if the fish was mutated or if it was just a genetic anomaly. No one knows if it grew its extra mouth because of the radiation leaking out of the broken Japanese power plant, but yeah, it's definitely possible. Number 8. The rare blobfish. The blobfish has been labeled as the ugliest animal in the entire world. Well, a new blobfish has recently been put on display at an aquarium in the Fukushima prefecture of Japan. And this is one of the first blobfish to be captured alive and put into an aquarium. According to Japan Times, it was found in the northern Pacific Ocean off the shores of Hokkaido and had been accidentally trapped inside of a gill net at a depth of roughly 3,000 feet, 915 meters. The fishermen who caught this ugly animal were able to think quickly and save its life, and now it's living merrily inside the aquarium. The only thing is that the blobfish looks a little different now than all the memes you've probably seen it in. The change in pressure definitely took its toll, as its flesh has gotten a little soggy since it was ripped out of the deep ocean. Some might say it's actually not ugly at all, but instead sorta cute, in a weird sea creature kind of way. The blobfish now spends all of its time in the darkest and lowest places of its tank, and nobody knows exactly how long it will live for in captivity. And all we can do is hope that the strange fish lives a long and happy life. What do you think about the blobfish? Is it really the ugliest animal in the world? Let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Number 7. Mutant Chernobyl fish. One of the weirdest fish ever captured came out of the water channel leading to the destroyed nuclear facility in Chernobyl. This was thanks to Jeremy Wade from Animal Planet's River Monsters. Jeremy was given special permission inside the radiated exclusion zone to see what he could pull out, and what he found was extraordinary. Jeremy didn't pull out a huge monster mutant. Instead, he reeled in a catfish that was half the size it was supposed to be for its age, making it a stunted mutant. Creatures exposed to radiation don't grow as big as they normally would, and like you might expect, and they usually have deformities, and they don't live as long lives either. It was also found to contain 16 times the level of radiation that is normal with one of these fish. Of course, Jeremy was smart enough to put the fish back in the water and get out of there before he turned into a mutant. Number 6. Monster sea creature. A terrifying sea creature that looks an awful lot like a human being was recently discovered floating in the water just off the beach in China. Locals had to fish the thing onto the shore to get a better look at it. What they found was a freakish creature shaped like a humanoid with a head and extremely stumpy limbs. When found, the creature appeared to still be alive. A curious man on the beach picked it up and it immediately began writhing in his grip. The entire incident was recorded on video and uploaded to the internet, at which point some people began labeling the monstrous sea creature as a type of mutant starfish. No scientific professionals could give a clear definition of what the monster was. Some said it was a mutated sea sponge, but how exactly any sponge or starfish could morph into the shape of a human is anyone's guess. And I don't know about you, but I wouldn't pick it up and start posing with it for pictures and videos, especially if I didn't know it's been exposed to radiation or if it's possibly poisonous. Number 5. The horrifying catfish. Tourists in Colombia managed to catch the ugliest, strangest, and most mutated catfish ever seen. The tourists had been chasing after a legendary giant catfish for 3 days when they accidentally reeled in an altogether different kind of fish that appeared to have come not from the deep ocean, but from deep outer space. The fish was so strange that even the local guides were scratching their heads and couldn't figure out what it was. There were no clues as to the ugly fish's identity until the video of its capture was uploaded online, at which point someone pointed out that the tourists had captured something known as an acanthicus, which is a type of sucker-mouth armored catfish native to both the Amazon basin and the Orinoco basin, both of which are in Colombia. But these guys didn't just catch any ordinary armored catfish, they caught an albino one, which explains why the fish looked more like an alien than something that belongs in a river. It had a bizarre beard on its face, it was covered in potentially poisonous spines, and it was definitely not happy about being caught. Luckily, the fishermen put the albino back in the river and let it swim away. Number 4. Finding Dory. A woman recently caught an extremely strange and vivid blue fish that some people have called the real-life Dory from the Finding Nemo movies. This fish was so incredible and so lucidly blue that people online tried to dismiss it as a fake. But it wasn't. It's absolutely 100% real. It just so happened to be one of the brightest parrotfish ever caught. These types of fish come in all kinds of different colors, and blue is one of the rarest and most alluring. It almost looks like the fish is bursting with electricity, or it was dipped in a bright blue paint can. Parrotfish live in shallow coral reefs, mostly in the Atlantic Ocean and around the Caribbean. And even though they look enormous and otherworldly, they're harmless. These fish primarily eat algae that they scrape off of rocks and other tiny organisms. We don't know exactly what happened to the electric blue parrotfish, if the fisherwoman took it home and ate it or what. Apparently, parrotfish are considered a delicacy and they taste great, though divers frown upon eating them. Hopefully she let the beautiful blue fish go and just appreciated her weird catch. Number 3. The most venomous octopus. A user on TikTok recently made one of the worst decisions of his life. Unbeknownst to this guy, he had captured the most venomous octopus in the entire world while vacationing in Bali. The tourist filmed a blue-ringed octopus crawling across his bare hands. And yes, this is one of the most dangerous animals in the entire world. This guy obviously had no idea that something so small could pack such a big punch. The blue-ringed octopus only grows to be around 5 or 6 inches, 12 to 15 centimeters. It's covered in psychedelic blue rings, and it's honestly pretty adorable to look at. But be careful, because the octopus's 50 to 60 blue rings will begin to flash bright yellow when it gets agitated or stressed. And this is the point you should back off of it, or it will inject you with its incredibly deadly venom. The toxins are so dangerous that one sting from the blue-ringed octopus can kill a person before they ever make it to the hospital. The only good thing is that these deadly cephalopods are not at all aggressive and won't usually attack. That is, unless you take it out of the water and begin playing with it. This uninformed TikTok user walked away extremely lucky after recording himself catching and playing with the octopus. Had the octopus decided to defend itself, what the video would have shown instead was the tourist becoming nauseous, going blind, losing control of his motor skills, then falling into paralysis before his lungs stopped breathing. Luckily, he survived the encounter, put the octopus back, and continued on with his vacation and all his new TikTok followers. Number 2. Giant tiger shark. A giant tiger shark that measured over 18 feet, 5.4 meters long, was just captured off the coast of Australia, and it has been described as a monster. The giant predator was captured by a curious man named Matthew, who refused to give out the rest of his identity because of the controversy that surfaced following the pictures of the tiger shark being uploaded online. Many people were outraged and compared the death of the shark to the killing of Cecil the lion. According to Matthew, he'd been trying to catch a smaller hammerhead shark when the much greater tiger shark appeared out of nowhere and swallowed the hammerhead whole. Matthew had never intended to catch an almost 20-foot, 6-meter tiger shark, but that's just the way things went on that fishing trip. But just wait, even though this tiger shark was 18 feet, 5.4 meters long, local fishermen have called it a baby shark, saying that there are other, far larger and more dangerous tiger sharks swimming through those very waters. Yikes, you probably don't want to swim in that area. Number 1. The stingy fish. While fishing off a Texas pier with her mother in Port Isabel, Alyssa Ramirez reeled in what she at first thought was just a piece of seaweed. But then the seaweed started squirming, and she realized that she had a very strange sea creature flopping around by her feet. She knew immediately that the creature was not any type of fish. It was red, covered in weird spines, and it just generally looked like more of an alien than an actual fish. Luckily, Alyssa and her mother were both smart enough not to touch the sea creature, just in case it was poisonous. They found out later that what they had actually discovered was a bearded fireworm, a terrifying sea monster that's able to inject neurotoxins from its bristles directly into a human body. Had Alyssa touched the fireworm, she would have received a wound so painful that it feels like you've been set on fire. Good call not touching it. According to USA Today, Alyssa helped the distressed fireworm back into the water, but was careful not to make any direct contact with her skin. The reason the fireworm is so red and colorful is to warn predators not to eat it. Otherwise, they'll be in for a nice dose of poison. In this case, the colorful warning system actually worked. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these strange catches? What's the strangest thing you've ever pulled out of the water? Let me know in the comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for all the latest videos right here on American Eye.